Many fans here in this year.
Hello and welcome back to round one coverage of the 2023 Nine Hill Open. This is MDG Media. We are excited to be bringing you round one back nine MPO feature card coverage from this beautiful course here in Latvia towards the later end of the season, where we see top talent from around Europe gather to compete on this exciting course. I'm Connor Wood, happy to be bringing you through the action here today. As we take a look at the standings through the front nine, we see Rainers Balodis, a local player, currently holding the solo lead position at 2 under par. Just one stroke behind him, we see Toms, and in third place, series of players tied, one of which is Noah Smithson, currently on our feature card, who we will see in just a moment. We kick it off on hole 10, a 67-meter par 3 with a triple mando. Beautiful construction here. Players will need to hold a good angle integrity to push forwards through the gap after hitting it, as you try to slow down your pace on the slightly sloping green with the basket in the center as the green widens to an island of inbounds. We have Rainers up first. Has a good control of the nose angle, slides right on up at only 67 meters, is one of the easier holes statistically, but you see right there, still very demanding in terms of the gap that needs to be hit. Noah catching the left side of the triple mando. Roland with a great forehand touch there, also slowing it down just in time. And Bohdan gets himself a nice straight line, but not quite all the way. And Noah, because he did not cross the plane, does not proceed to the drop zone and has a great touch approach there with the forehand, leaving him that tap in. Bohdan with the downhill bid. A healthy putting stroke there by Rainers to kick off our back nine with a birdie here and look to continue his lead. An important comebacker there for Bohdan. Currently sitting at 5 over on hole 10. He's found a little bit of trouble, but has been fairly solid on the greens. Has been finding the trouble off the tee and on upshots. As we go to Noah now. Just like that, able to secure par. Pretty much best case scenario after the tee shot there. As we see 2 birdies and 2 pars here on hole 10. And we move on to hole 11, a 265-meter par 4. You see this initial small mound opening up into a secondary field. This rolling fairway, really beautiful, full of lush grass with trees on both sides, OB lining the left side the entire way, trees and rough on the right side. As you see the fairway begin to narrow and continue its final bend over this undulating fairway. The basket is tucked away at the back here, surrounded by OB if you manage to go long on this lengthy par 4. Rainers with a great power forehand hyzer. Some good forwards pushing distance before strong fade. And you'll see these guys all try to create a left to right moving shape here to open up the angle of their second shot. This has a full flex at the end, and really fantastic placement there by Roland. Noah again utilizing that height to try and push the distance, but it requires a good control of stability, and he has just that up there with Roland in the prime landing zone off the tee. Both of those guys exactly where you want to be. Bohdan slightly early release as he contends with left side out of bounds and in fact finds it off that late fade. You saw that although his disc did turn, it didn't hold it for long enough and was not released late enough. As he tries to make a push to the green, we go to Rayners. Also, a lot of distance still between him and the green, but could potentially manufacture a long look at it. Or a short one. Look at that. Expert level touch. Really well done. Accuracy with the power, with the drive. Keeps it in bounds. Goes long of the pin. Incredible second shot by Rayners there, showing us exactly why he is in the lead position right now. And a healthy run as well there. These guys dropping dimes on the green. We go to Noah now. Went so far off the drive, he's actually left with an open look, slightly downhill. And pinpoint on the approach for all three of those guys. Really impressive. We go to Bohdan now. Pushes it a touch long, but it sits quickly. And unfortunately, coming out the left side there, you see, although he had the shortest approach, was actually the furthest from the pin. That really speaks to the high-level accuracy of the other three players. Particularly Rayners. That is a great birdie to pick up. And Roland as well, catching his second birdie already on the back nine, maintaining pace with Rayners. Noah as well, fantastic tee shot, really opened up that approach for him nicely. As we move on here to hole 12, a 192 meter par 4, you have that early tree on the right as you have an open field leading to this late or medium length gap in the fairway. You want to pierce through this tree line where the fairway then begins to bend softly to the left, roughly 45 degrees. As you then follow this along the tree line, you find this late mouth into the woods with both a guardian lake as well as tight OB and of course an elevated basket. As we saw Rayners try to push his flex up and over the right side trees and crash in left. Unclear how much progress or how abbreviated his flight was by those trees. We see Roland getting that flip up line a little bit early to the left. Noah looking to flex something through here. Came out with a lot of speed, but I don't think it hit the mouth of that tunnel as cleanly as he would have liked. I believe he'll be on the left side. And Bohdan, you see with that errant shot, gets it turned over, just pitches back to center fairway. And he'll be playing for a par at best now. Rayners in a very awkward spot for the forehand, although seems to have gotten this out with some good pace. That thing is trucking. And he'll have an open look to the green from there. as we see Bohdan not really looking to push anything out too long and too left, not looking to attack anywhere near the green just yet. Does decide for another placement shot with that hyzer as we go to Roland now. So he tries to match the grade of the hill and find that late stability. I think that's all he really needs from there. Could have pushed it perhaps a touch longer and found a little bit more late stability to the right and down the hill, but certainly enough. And Noah looking to place a bomb to the green. And he crashes through. I believe where he fell was in bounds. So he'll have a long look as we see them now try to find their way over the water, and very well cleared there. Soft skip up to the basket. We go now to Roland. Once again showing off his prowess with a simple step or jump putt. Nice approach. Noah off the knee is going to need to craft something a bit touchy here, but he's done so very well. And Bohdan continues to be aggressive on the greens. I would argue he wasn't even on the green yet, but still able to give a stab at that one. So we go back to him now. An important moment is already over par for the hole. We'll be walking out of hole 12 with a 6. Rayner's able to drop in his par. Both Roland and Noah not really making any mistakes, not letting anything slip, just good control down the fairway with each shot, and they find their tap-ins as well. We see here a beautiful elevated tee, hole 13, par 4, downhill at 205 meters. As you see that initial tight tunnel opening up into this big clearing. A really precise tee shot required to push as much distance as you can. Anything that connects early will pretty much take par out of play, as players need to then push their drive out, and on their second try to approach over this bunker and onto this slightly elevated mound green. Rayner's getting a nice hyzer flip out, and this is all you need. Picture perfect. Pushes it out there. Some great forwards pushing distance, a touch of nose down, and then that late stability to ensure that he checks up. Roland a little bit more conservative and a bit more hyzer angle, but as I mentioned, certainly more than enough to get the birdie for both of those. Both of those guys. We go to Noah now. And he clips some branches but fights on through. Won't quite have the same distance as Rayner's, but a similar forward pushing line. Lost a little bit of steam with those early branches. And Bohdan unfortunately hyzers out too early. Finding OB left, you need to really stall out in order to do that. And unfortunately, he has found it as he tries to now get up the hill as far as he can. And that should leave him in a spot where he's able now to throw his next shot onto the green. And you can see that this section of the fairway is significantly uphill. So although it's 205, the first 100 are very downhill. The second 100 are noticeably uphill. Noah just so close to that bunker's edge. Does not manage to fight his way out. Roland now has seen this mistake. Curious if that changes his thoughts at all and how he approaches this hole. Skips it off the top. Great accuracy on his upshot. Reyners now has shown a great command of the forehand so far. Likely going to play some stability and try to crash into the hill. Goes a little bit wide and will in fact be putting back towards the bunker, although he's been reliable on the green. I think for a player of his caliber, still not going to prevent him from running it, which Bohdan potentially tries to do. Really rare that you see someone land on the top and stick. He's able to do both. We go to Reyners. And the crowd cheers for his putt, but it just does not stay in. And from that hazard area, Noah secures the par. 3 throws with 1 penalty stroke. No worries there. And Roland playing this hole very cleanly. Does secure his birdie on the way out. Here we are now on hole 14, another 200 plus meter par 4. This time you see OB to both the left and the right as the fairway pushes first straight, softly left around that first guardian in center fairway, continues to fight upwards towards the edge of this tree line. As the OB begins to narrow, you enter the mouth here of the green where you find the basket tucked away behind the trees. Very thematic to Nine Hill, and a common design element here is to give you that open fairway to rip the bombs, but require that late gap hit, extremely late gap hit, to find your way and navigate your way onto the green. We see Roland here. Going to give us the first drive. A lot of these guys will try to pump something out into the right, just like this, and then fade back. Picture perfect shot for Roland. Dead center fairway and solid progress. Rayner's going with a lot more height and a ton of snap. As you see him just crash in. Huge progress considering how nose up that disc was. Great knowledge of the stability and trust in his angles. Noah, another player that's been known to use height when he needs it, but he just swings out a big hyzer. And Bohdan doesn't have the same speed out of the hand as the other 3 players. He's going to want to shape this a little bit more than a pure hyzer, and you see just that. Gets it to flip up and finds his way to where he wants to be, although still a lot of distance to the green for him. We go to Noah now. You see that abbreviated run up with the uphill slope. He pushes towards the entrance to the green, and we'll have a long look at it. Likely little step or jump putt. Reyners could be entertaining something even more aggressive with how much distance he has off the tee, and this looks great if he can pierce through the tree line. Oh, and he slides on up. Really nicely done by Reyners. Showing off his local experience, his knowledge of the course there. Exactly when and how much to push that. Roland as well, unable to crest that small entrance. Bohdan gets a little bit caught up along the way, but it does sit down in a very reasonable spot. And hole 14 was a very difficult birdie and averaged at 4.64 here in round 1. Certainly a demanding hole. A lot of elements required as we go to Bohdan now. Solid putt for par. The last 3 holes previously he has been finding some trouble. So well done by him to now get back on track with that. Rayner's here for birdie. And just really well done. That's certainly a separator there. Now we see hole 15, a 128-meter par 3, quite similar to hole 1, but slightly less uphill. Still slightly sloping, certainly towards the end of the fairway, but you'll notice that rather than being that straight to flex shot, these guys are going to be encouraged to really try and end left as they swing around the trees and in. Basket once again very well guarded. This is a little bit too long for most players to throw a pure hyzer. But we'll see if they can really control their angle and push forwards before crashing left. The common mistake here is to overturn or underturn, of course. Really requires just a long pushing flight with very late stability. And this is an example of that underturned shot because you want to... Oh, but he sneaks through to the cheers of the crowd and he is on the green. Great result there for Rayners. Roland with that great fighting hyzer. Never quite gets to flat, but pushes up the whole time and beautifully done. Looks to have slid up into bullseye. Pinpoint accuracy at 128 meters by Roland. And you can see on the back nine right now, he is matching the pace of our leader Rayners, although he couldn't quite come into this back nine with a matched score. He's certainly keeping up in birdies. Noah going even a touch long there before fading left. Bohdan also looking at potentially navigating that last corner. It comes up just a little bit shorter. And you see here, he'll have a step putt or even just a soft throw. And he's really solid at giving it those light bids from way out. Noah, something between a putt and a layup there. Clearly not happy with it. As Rayners continues to push ahead to 5 under for the round. And just an absolute park job for Roland Kour. Textbook execution of hole 15. If you ever need to know how to birdie, just come watch this young man play this hole. An interesting hole here. 16 is a downhill 70-meter par 3 through this very narrow, winding tunnel with both the first and second Mandos forcing players to make this, what would be for most right-handed players, a backhand flex shape. Some people might try to get tricky, but anything other than that can find trouble fairly quickly. And once again, at that lower distance, it's all about touch. It's all about hitting the gaps and then controlling your speed, hopefully sliding on up. As we see Reyners hit the gap on Anheuser. Does catch an edge and sit down pretty quickly. He'll be left with an uphill putt, should allow him the confidence to run it. And some players will opt for the forehand here just to ensure that they hit the second Mando. The first one isn't really coming into play for anyone. It just prevents a super wide hyzer. And we see Roland utilizing the hillside there. Swings into it with the forehand hyzer. Noah, who has a great touch with the backhand. Not to say he doesn't use his forehand comfortably, but surprised to see him go with the forehand there, considering how strong he is at this specific shape with the backhand putters. Bohdan getting first a really terrible kick and then a much better one on the second. And a smooth delivery to the green for him. He'll be left with that putt for par. Noah, I can imagine at this range going downhill, simply wants to lay it up, and the height would indicate just that. That is not the spot to try and push the aggression. Roland, however, could look to do something with this opportunity. And just like that, very solid putt. And Reyners with his chance for the birdie there. Catches high left side chains. As we see the tap-ins remaining. Only 2 holes left to this first round. These guys are going to start weighing risk and reward, potentially even looking at the standings of other competitors and seeing how much risk they might need to take. We see here hole 17, a 163-meter par 4, although it plays as significantly more, winding uphill the entire way. You see a soft left to right bend initially, then a sharp one at the corner, where it then continues to push up the hill with OB lining both sides up to this round green. A lot of players will try to push their first shot straight and then swing out over the OB into the green on their second. If they're just playing for par, they can pitch their way up the inbounds with some more controlled shots. But I think these guys are certainly, at least some of them, will be attacking for the birdie here. Roland up first with a great spot. Does find a little bit of fade away from the green at the end of the flight, but more than far enough to find his way up there on the second. We go to Reyners now, and this could be in danger of the right side if it doesn't push far enough. Oh, but he stays just in bounds by the corner. Really nicely done. Another example of him knowing exactly how much he can push the width of the fairway. Very familiar. Noah getting a controlled turnover shot right down the middle. Just a straight line the whole way. Did look, however, like he landed still on that slightly sloped part of the fairway, may contribute to more difficult footing. Bohdan, unfortunately underturned, finds OB to the left side. And he's going to now try to cut the corner. It's going to be very important that he crosses on the far side. You see him putting a bit of flex on this out of the hand to ensure it gets the distance. And I believe he overthrew it. We see Noah there crash through into the fairway. Cuts the corner. We go to Roland. And he is pushing this one up there. He needs it to settle. And it does just that, is able to check up in time. Fading rapidly towards that OB line. Rayners now. Looking at the forehand play. And he is dropping it beautifully into the green. Really just solid control of nose-up forehand angles from him on both shots. Bohdan a little bit errant there on the approach. As we go to Noah with a putt for birdie. Solid putt though from Bohdan. We see here on hole 17, it did actually average a 5 on this par 4, playing as the most difficult here. And you can see just why. It needs all the distance, the control, the accuracy, OB lining the entire fairway. And unfortunately, Bohdan going to be taking 2 OB strokes on top of his score on this hole.
Hey!
And here we are on the final hole 18, a 110-meter par 3 with quite a unique hole design. You will see coming up soon towards the right of your screen, the inbounds island of the green. Players are going to try and cross this OBC into the inbounds island, upon which they will try and make their birdie putt to the elevated basket. Certainly a hole that can make or break a round. Sitting right at the end, this will test our players' focus and ambition late into the round. We have Rayners up first. Players will often opt for either a hyzer flip or just a big hyzer if they're comfortable with that distance. Rayners playing the big hyzer also has the advantage of going over the inbounds the whole way. And he skips on up to the green. A fantastic shot from our leader, Rayners Balodis, looking to end out strong in this first round. We go to Roland. As he too finds his way up onto the island green. Very good ground play to close that distance as well. A fantastic 2 shots there from Rayners and Roland. Noah now looking to match, but comes up just shy of that wall and unfortunately does not make it to the safe inbounds area. Bohdan here has had a tough round, but certainly has had commendable moments. And he just lands on the wrong side of that inbounds wall. Noah proceeding to the drop zone here, along with Bohdan. And really smooth. Just absolutely pins it. We'll see if Bohdan can do the same as they both look to save a bogey now. Fantastic touch by our feature card as we proceed to the final putts of round 1 here. Rayners with appreciation of his local crowd, setting an incredible round score of 8 under par. Really impressive stuff. He can go to sleep tonight, feeling good about that one, getting ready for round 2. Roland, a little bit of a turnaround. He certainly struggled a bit in the front nine, but coming into this back nine has set a good pace and really strung together quite a few birdies. Noah as well, a bit of an up and down round, ending at even for him. As we take a look at the final scores, Rayner's holding that solo lead position at 8 under, 4 strokes ahead of Roland. Second place at 4 under, Noah in third at even, and Bjorn Morandi at 4th place, 1 over par, setting your lead card for the second round. Very exciting tournament with some unique fairways, great hole design, always some extra added elements of complexity with the basket height, basket placement, and all around a good test for these competitors. We appreciate you all joining us. You can like, comment, subscribe, or also find us on Patreon if you'd like to continue supporting European disc golf coverage. We appreciate all of you, and make sure to catch us for round 2.